All right, in case you missed it, 3 Georgia Bulldog freshmen were named SEC Freshman All-American this week. And listen, if you dig into it, it's easy to see that Georgia hit a home run with several of their true freshmen from that elite 2024 recruiting class. I'm going to talk about that and a lot more in today's video. Just going to break down how Georgia's freshmen have fared so far. Which freshmen do you need to keep an eye on for next year, right? Which guys could have a possibly breakout season in 2025, and which freshmen could, who knows, turn into one of the best players in college football next season. But I think we need to start with Nate Frazier, the freshman running back, elite running back prospect from California. We told you he was going to make an impact this year, and he did from day one, right? Trevor Etienne's out. He rushed for 83 yards and a touchdown against Clemson. And it was easy to see that, hey, this kid could be special. He's shifty, he's elusive, he's got great speed, he can make defenders miss, but he also runs hard and he can break tackles. So he is a do-it-all running back who can also make plays out of backfield catching the football. He's rushed for 634 yards and 8 touchdowns so far this season. Of course, he also had that game-winning score against Georgia Tech in 8 overtimes. Here's what Kirby Smart had to say about his true freshman running back. I believe this was after the UMass game. He said he's been huge. He's very confident. He's hitting the hole really hard, sometimes too fast, but he's a good running back and he's growing up fast. He's a kid that usually wouldn't be getting a few carries, and now he's a veteran at this point in the season. Now, he does need to work on the ball security issues, right? He's put the ball on the ground a couple times, but he's a freshman back and he's just eager to get out there and make plays, and sometimes you can be a little careless with the ball. So if he improves his ball security and continues to develop and add more muscle and work on his speed, his agility, and his elusiveness, I mean, he is such a quick, kind of twitchy running back that, you know, he's hard to corral. And I absolutely think he could be one of the best running backs, not only in the SEC, but in college football next year. So he's definitely a guy who is going to make his name known more and more with the opportunities he gets. And I expect him to, you know, have a significant impact in the playoffs. So Nate Frazier, easily worth the hype out of high school. We told he was really good, and he's proving it. Another guy I want to talk about, maybe not a starter, but Chris Cole has been a terrific linebacker. Another former 5-star guy. He's from Virginia. Long, athletic, 6'3", about 235, is a multi-sport standout in high school, and he's really come a long way. He's made just 16 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, 2 fumble recoveries, taking one of them back for a touchdown, I believe against UMass. But he's a guy that Kirby Smart really likes, and you know, he's kind of, I don't want to say buried on the depth chart, but he's got guys like Jalen Walker and C.J. Allen and Raylan Wilson, you know, ahead of him, but he's still found a way to see the field. Kirby Smart is very high on him, and Justin Williams, another 5-star linebacker that they brought in. But here's what Kirby had to say about Chris Cole later in the season. He said, Chris Cole and Justin Williams are going to be really good players. They're both bright spots out there at practice each day. Justin is one of the hardest working, more positive kids I've ever been around. He and Chris Cole are both getting better, faster. All those guys, they've got a great tight-knit group. So Justin Williams, who has played some, I think he's got a handful of tackles this year. He was actually ranked higher than Chris Cole, not by much. I think, you know, Justin Williams was the number 1 linebacker, then Samuel Brown, who went to Clemson, then Chris Cole. But Chris Cole is the guy who's, you know, seen the field a little bit more and has been a little more productive, and a guy who I think could really, really shine next year. Now, he's still behind, you know, 3 guys who are a year ahead of him, or 2 years ahead of him. Actually, just 2, because Jalen Walker is going to bounce and be a first-round pick. So he's still got C.J. Allen, Raylan Wilson ahead of him, but this guy's going to see the field a lot next year, and I expect Justin Williams to too. So it's clear that Georgia, again, they hit a home run on both of those linebackers. Georgia identified them out of high school, pushed for them, and I think they're both going to be very, very successful. And then let's talk about KJ Bolden, right? The 5-star elite prospect. I saw him a ton at Buford. They flipped him last minute on signing day from Florida State. And again, home run. This guy is absolutely worth the hype out of high school. He is just as good as we all thought, and has played a ton this year at safety, right? And, you know, they've got Malachi Starks, they've got Dan Jackson, but KJ Bolden, you know, whether he's coming in that nickel spot or just seeing the field so someone can get a break, right? He's active. He's got great instincts. He's great against the run. He's a tough tackler. He can make a big stop in the open field. And I believe it was in overtime of the Texas game, the SEC title game, that first overtime, he made a massive stop in the open field. If he misses that tackle, they pick up a first down, that drive keeps going, and who knows, maybe they score a touchdown. But, he reacted quickly and made a big stop when they needed it, right, in the open field. And he's done that all year long. He covers a lot of ground in the back end. He's got 1 interception, I believe. But 54 tackles is really, really impressive. I mean, the dude flies all over the place, doesn't mind contact. He's a physical, aggressive tackler, and he wraps up. He's fundamentally sound, but he covers a lot of ground in coverage. 54 tackles, 1 sack, 1 interception. He's only going to get better, and I think he's bound for a first-round draft pick in 3 years, 3-and-out type of guy. He could be a All-American next year at safety. So he's the guy that, they identified, and, since he was a freshman at Buford, they said, this guy is going to be special. As it turns out, looks like he's going to be. So I remember watching him at Buford and thinking, man, I want that guy at receiver. I know he could be a great defensive back with the instincts, the length, the physicality, but he is special with the ball in his hands too. So maybe we'll see him in some package or two, maybe not next year, but maybe in year 3, or maybe he gets an opportunity to do some punt kick returns as well. But he is electric, and he is a bona fide stud at safety in Georgia's defensive backfield. So hard to play a lot. Just ask Ellis Robinson. I know he's a cornerback, KJ Bolden's a safety, but you really have to earn the trust of the staff as a freshman to get on the field, and KJ Bolden has absolutely done that. So we've seen a lot of him this year. We're going to see even more of him next year, and wouldn't surprise me if he is one of the best defensive backs, not only in the SEC next year, but across college football. He is that good. Now I'm going to talk about some other guys in a second, but those 3 were the freshman All-American selections who were very, very good. But I want to talk about some other guys too. Now, you may have forgot about him because he had a season-ending injury, but Joseph Jonah Ajanye saw the field plenty early in the season. I think he's only, statistically, he's only made 1 tackle, but he was out there a good bit through those first 4 or 5 weeks of the season before he got hurt. 5-star prospect from Texas. Georgia went and got him. Still fairly new to the game. He only played like 2.5 years in high school, I believe, and is his first year in college. And again, he won the trust of the staff and was able to get out there early and play some significant minutes early in the season. So he's only going to get better. And I think when he's healthy, he continues to develop and work on the fundamentals, his technique, while adding more weight and just learning the game under Trey Scott. I think he's a guy we're going to see a lot of next year. Got to stay healthy. I don't think there's injury concerns. I think he just had 1 kind of bad injury that, ended his season. But when he gets back and he continues to get better and better, I think he could make a very big impact next year on the defensive line. Ellis Robinson, I know that the question's going to be in the comments section. Where's Ellis Robinson? Why hasn't he been playing? Maybe we'll see some of him in the playoffs as probably the number 3 cornerback with Julian Humphrey, kind of quitting on the team. But he is a really, really good player still. I don't know if it's still the practice habits, or I don't know. I get that they don't want to throw a true freshman out there at cornerback. There's a lot could go wrong, but I think next year he's going to be in a real position to I think he will be one of the starters next year. The length, the ball skills, the technique, the footwork, he's got it all. I totally get why he was a top 5 prospect out of high school. I was hoping to see more of him this year, but he just wasn't one of the 2 or 3 best cornerbacks on the roster. At least that's what the staff believes. So he's been out there. We've seen him some here and there, but he's a guy who I think still will be a multi-year starter in Georgia secondary starting next year. So next year could be a breakout season. Kind of wish we saw him a little bit more, but again, that's the staff's call. They know more than I do, and there's a reason, I guess, we haven't seen a ton of him, but I do think he is a special talent. Justin Williams, I talked about him already. Jaden Riddell is a tight end who I think has a really, really bright future, pass-catching machine. We've seen a little bit of him this year. I expect we'll see more of him next year. Dwight Phillips Jr., little peanut, right? Peanut. Real fast, one of the fastest players in college football. He's seen some carries here and there. I expect him to have a bigger role next year, but he's also seen the field. Nitro Tuggle, has been on the field this year. Just a handful of catches, I believe. He should be a guy they look towards a lot next year. He does have the ball skills. He's got size. If he continues to add more muscle and continues to work on his route tree, creating separation, he's got great hands. He's a big play machine. So Nitro Tuggle is definitely a guy I've got my eye on next year as someone having a big impact in year 2. We've seen a little bit of Sokovie White. We've seen a little bit of DeMello Jones, Jordan Thomas, Chauncey Bowens. And I'm probably missing a couple other guys, but it seems clear that the guys they signed in that 24 recruiting class, they're going to pan out. At least a lot of them are so far. It was a special group, and it looks like Georgia hit a home run with several of those big-time prospects that they signed in last year's recruiting class. So just a freshman update in case you didn't know the numbers or forgot about a couple of guys. I definitely want to come on here and give some shout outs and give some respect to these first-year players, a lot of them who were able to see the field for the best program in the country. It's not an easy thing to do, but 3 guys have made a real significant impact this year, and they've been named SEC Freshman All-American. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you learned something. I'll see you over on the website.